How to teach your dog to stay. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, his name is Crash, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of how you get your dog to stay. This, in my opinion, is the thing clients struggle with the most. They say, my dog can sit, my dog can down, but they just won't stay. How do you get them to stay? Well, I've got all the magic tricks for you. To get started, you're gonna need a leash. I like using a long leash. This one's a 7-foot one because when we're working on stay, we need to start to add some distance. So the longer the leash, the more distance you can add. Your dog's favorite training treats. I just like to train with his kibble because this boy is motivated for everything. What you train with is totally dependent on what your dog loves. Find out what they love, train with that. And last but not least, some training equipment. Crash here is on a prong collar. If your dog has not been conditioned or trained to the prong collar, don't start with the prong collar. Instead, go watch my video on how to train your dog on a prong collar before you get there. But because he's already been conditioned to it, we'll be training with it today. So here's the thing about stay. I don't actually say stay. I don't like it. You know why? Because a lot of people do this number. Stay, stay, stay. And to me, that's just not real life. I don't want you to have to micromanage your dog all the time, so let's not say stay. I like to teach an implied stay, and that just means that place, sit, and down, those three commands imply the concept of stay. If you prefer to say stay or wait or banana, I don't really care. You just don't want to overuse it. And I find it a lot easier that if we just eliminate the word altogether, people are less likely to overuse that word. I'm all about saying less. So rather than saying place, stay, sit, stay, down, stay, it's all just one and the same. If I'm putting my dog on place, I already want them to stay. Crash already knows place. He's honestly already pretty good at stay, but we're also gonna work sit and down. Your dog should already know the steps to going on the dog bed, going in the sit position, and going into the down position before you layer on the stay aspect of it. Let's start with that place stay. What you're not gonna do is put your dog on place and then immediately step away. They're not ready for that. We gotta take little bitty baby steps. So what are those baby steps? First step, have the leash in your hand, you silly goose. This is how we talk to our dog efficiently. So every time they get off, what are we gonna do? We're gonna put them right back on. Your leash is the most efficient way to reset your dog back into the position. So when it comes to place, I'm gonna apply leash pressure towards the bed to communicate to him, you're not done yet, you gotta stay put. I'm not gonna say stay, I'm just gonna remind him the command place. Place, I can give him a treat for going to the bed, keep the leash in my hand, and I'm just gonna start to do little steps backward and then towards him. Baby steps, literally. Literally take baby steps. Good. And each time I can get a little bit further, I go back and reward him. The longer you stay there, the more snackies come your way. Now this is the 7-foot leash. So your first step might just be work to the end of your leash. Could be a 4-foot leash, could be a 6-foot leash. Just make it the goal to work to the end of the leash. Now what happens if your dog gets off? No. Place. Pop my leash, put him back on. I don't give a treat because he made the mistake, but instead I repeat the exercise. Now he's done it right. Now I can go back and reward him. So I've mastered just one direction at a 7-foot distance. Now let's change it up a little bit. Now we just switch sides, but the goal is to work to the end of our leash, but in the opposite direction. You see, when you change these little pictures for your dog, you nail down one direction. When you switch it up and do the other side, it becomes totally different. Your dog goes, that looks different, I must be able to get off. So you wanna make sure to master the stay aspect from every angle of the bed. So now we'll try this side, place. I give him that little reminder cue before I walk away. Go back and reward. No. Place. No treat, because he made the mistake. Good boy, good man. Now we've nailed the other side. Let's walk around a little bit. Good. I walked away, he stayed on the bed, but the leash is still in my hand. I'm not dropping the leash because if he gets off, I want to have that really quick timing to be able to communicate he's made the mistake and then reset him back on the bed. Anytime your dog lays down, good man. Do a couple of laps this way. And you see all the good decisions he's making. He definitely wants to get off. So I'm gonna reward those good decisions. When he gets up to the very edge of the bed, but ultimately decides to stay put, Reward good decision making. You made a good decision. Let them know that by treats, praise, whatever they find rewarding. And once your dog can nail this down with a leash in your hand, you just very sneaky like start dropping it. I'm not saying stay. I'm not saying anything at all. Some owners want to do this number, which is not real life. When your dog's in a stay, I want you to be able to open your front door. I want you to be able to cook a meal for the family. I want you to sit down and watch a TV show. And the entire time, your dog is not relying on you making eye contact and making sure that they stay put. I'm not paying attention to you at all, but the rule still applies. Place means stay. So if you're trying to teach your dog to stay, I'd recommend starting with place stay. This is the easiest one for them. All he has to do is stay on the boundary. Sit and down are very strict positions for a dog to hold and to stay there for a long period. So I don't usually like to start there. I like to nail down the stay concept on an easier command like place, and then we apply it to a down stay or a sit stay. Let me show you what those look like. Now the truth is, I don't really love a sit stay, but I do find one scenario where a sit stay is just perfect. Right here at the good old door. I don't like dogs that are door dashers. I mean, who does? It's such a safety hazard. If you open the door, your dog sprints out into the street, scary. We want to avoid that at all costs. So what I like to do is have my dogs sit before they can go for a walk. Sit before they can even go outside to go to the backyard. It's just a great way to make them stop and think and connect with you. And even more so, creates this invisible bubble around the door. And they shall not pass unless you tell them otherwise. Now, Crash loves going outside, and every time that door opens, boom, he's gone. So I'm gonna make a training session out of this. I'm not gonna wait for real life to happen. Instead, I'm gonna teach him how to sit and stay at the door. Sit. Now I'm gonna start with small little opens. If I just do one big ol' open, he gonna get up and wanna go outside. So let's make it easy. This is a very big distraction for the dogs, so the simpler we can make it, the more success he's going to have. Sit. For your dog, it might literally just be jiggling the doorknob and then rewarding them for staying in that sit. The longer they are staying there, the more treats they get. Sit. Good. Now, if he gets up, you're gonna, no, sit, and then reset him. No, sit. I pop my leash up for the sit command. Good. Sit. Good. Good. Even me going out first. No, sit. This is why having the leash in hand is so useful, because as soon as he gets up, I can give that correction. And last but not least, let's teach your dog how to downstay. Now, downstay I think is very useful. I pretty typically, dude, get your head out of the tree pouch. Thank you, thank you. I like to use a downstay at a coffee shop when I'm enjoying my coffee and want my dog in a down at my feet. When I'm checking the mailbox and I need my dog in a calm, relaxed position while I'm checking the mail. It's just a really useful command when you're out in public, but need your dog to be calm and relaxed for a little bit. So when it comes to a downstay, there is no time limit for it. Sit stay is just something quick and easy. Downstay, place stay is for infinity and beyond. Crash kinda has the concept of down. Get your treats, you pull it towards the ground, down. As soon as their elbows hit the floor, I drop the treat on the ground between their paws. Down, down. Nice. Now let's say your dog does not follow the treats. You're putting your hand at the ground and they're like, listen, I don't know what you're doing or trying to get me to do, but I don't understand. Here's how you can help them with that. Pull your leash towards the floor, down. And then as soon as their elbows hit the deck, release the leash pressure. So what you're showing them is when you feel pressure, you follow it. As soon as you follow it, it goes away. Free? And if your dog isn't getting any of those things, you can also try pushing right under the shoulder blades, down. And then as soon as he follows, let go and reward. Good boy. So you've got the treats, you've got your leash pressure, or you can apply the body pressure by pushing down. You really need to nail down the concept of down before you can do a down stay. So start there. Now let's move on to the stay portion of it. Down, giving him a treat between his paws, down, down. Just taking little bitty pauses. Down, down, down. The longer you stay there, the more snackies come your way. Now I stand all the way up straight. If you have a habit of giving treats like this, your dog's gonna wanna pop up for those treats. That's not the goal. The goal is that the treats come down at their level, so there is no reason for them to pop up. So if not giving the treats literally on the ground, at least just give it in a flat hand. Down, just like that. Okie dokie, so we've nailed the down stay while I'm next to him. Let's start to add some distance to this, where I take a couple of steps away, keeping the leash in my hand, remind him the cue before I take the step. Down, baby steps. Remember, just like with place, baby steps. Sit, what am I saying? Down. Good. Down. Good. I know what you're thinking. Morgan, you've already taught this dog all those things. It's because I taught him place stay first that the down stay and the sit stay are coming really easy to him. I've genuinely not done a sit stay or down stay, especially at the door. He's really bad at sitting at the door. So the fact that he's catching on to these concepts really quickly just goes to show that if you can really invest in a place stay first, it helps with your sit stay and down stay once you get to that point with your dog. When you walk past your dog, they have a tendency of getting up. So I'm gonna apply some leash pressure to reset him. Down. Not gonna give the treat because he made the mistake, but I'm gonna repeat the exercise and make it smaller. Well, see, even that gets him. Down. And with each rep, I push it just a little bit further and a little bit further. So if you find you're saying no a lot, your dog's making a lot of mistakes, it means you need to take it back a couple of steps and make it a little easy for them. Ideally, you're building on success. Instead of doing a bunch of no, make it simpler and gradually make it more difficult as you progress. Here's something you ought to know about down. It's every dog's least favorite command, especially for an excited dog like Crash. This is very boring. This is low energy. This is not very fun. He'd rather go for a run, go for a walk, do some frisbee, do some ball. This is some boring stuff. And unless you have a dog that's like trained for service work and is really good at doing the boring stuff, the average dog is gonna struggle with this. So you have to make a training session out of it. You can't just expect them to do it in real life. You wanna train this at home in your environment and nail down these concepts while at the same time making it worth their while. I know that it's really boring, so I'm at least gonna pay him through the process and say, you're gonna get all the snackies, because I know it's boring, but I'm gonna make it fun. Down. Good. Down. Oh, that's a really good note to end it on. I was able to make a full circle around him. Walking behind your dog in the stay position can usually be really difficult for them to do. So the fact that he did it, I gave him a lot of treats. And now the last thing to do when your dog is in a stay is to release them. So you don't want your treats to be your release command, or else every time your dog gets snacky, they're immediately gonna get up and out of their stay. So you have to use a release command, and that might be free, okay, break, banana. I don't care what you say, but I like to say free. And free means you're free. You're done working. It's like clocking out at the end of the day. I like to take some treats, free, and now we're done. You can do that from place, you can do that from sit, and you can do it from down. But you really want to make sure that if you put your dog in a command, you're telling them when they're allowed to come out of the command. If you don't release your dog, they're simply going to get bored and antsy and release themselves. So you have to reliably tell them when they're done working. And that's all, folks. The trick to teaching your dog to stay is training with the leash on and giving them treats the longer that they stay put. If your dog gets off, make sure you mark it with no and utilize your leash to reset them and put them back into the command. Don't forget to release your dog. They're not going to stay if you don't tell them when they're done working. They're not just gonna automatically stay. So you have to make sure that you are consistent in putting them in the command and releasing them out of it. We have now officially taught Crash heel, here, place, sit, down, and free. Oh, don't forget no for jumping and getting off the furniture. We've taught him all the basics. If you missed those videos, make sure you go back and watch them. So the only next step we have to advance his training is e-collar. Not sure what an e-collar is? Well, just stay tuned because we're gonna get into some advanced obedience training utilizing the e-collar. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Also, like this video. Stay tuned. I can't wait for the next steps and I can't wait to find Crash his forever home. Good luck and happy training. Say bye. Say goodbye to the people, Crash.